Hello, and welcome back to day two. We're talking on the topic of the power of eye contact, and it is powerful, and it can give us such a gauge in our communication and in our understanding between one another. And engaging in eye contact with our child can build trust. It can build um, the ability for our child to see how much we care, right? So all those things are possible with eye contact. It also can be a gauge for us to understand where our children are coming from, to really have them have the understanding and the feeling that they are being seen and that they are being heard and that they are valued for who they are. But eye contact can also be a challenge for some children. For example, if your child is on the spectrum of autism in some way, or has a high sensory situation when it comes to taking in things, it can sometimes be a real challenge because it's overstimulation for a child. If a child has experienced trauma or conflict in some way that's more traumatic, eye contact can become a problem. And also eye contact for the ADH group of people, there are times where the stimulation is way too much. And all that said, it's something to investigate. I wouldn't necessarily write it off to that. Instead, I would be an inquiry, right? To dig into what's going on with your child and how you can support them and help them to feel seen, heard, and valued, even if eye contact is more of a challenge. It also can indicate when our child is hiding from something or not wanting to address something that's really fearful for them. So inquiry investigation is important. And as you raise your children, of course, if you've started out from an early age, like I did, like you begin to see what's happening with them when they don't want to engage in that, or it can help us to see that when our child is not engaging in it, that maybe some further discovery needs to be made to understand what will be of best service to our child. But all this being said, the power of eye contact or any other connection with our child is vital, especially in these times. Our children are experiencing what we're experiencing. They're experiencing the energy of the times we're living in. Over the last few years, it's become more intense. And without that closeness, they can become lost and afraid, right? So much like we could be that way, right? We can become that way. So closeness is important. We often hear, I've been raised with it, and I raised my children with the idea of having a family meal every day, the opportunity to come together. And yet that beautiful thing of that, just like the beautiful thing of eye contact, right, can also, we want to gauge how we're connecting. How are we coming together at that meal? It's not the time for instruction and discipline, right? A mealtime is a time of gratitude. It's a time of appreciating and hearing one another and about the day and the beautiful things that, or things that need to come up that can be discussed later. But great digestion, it doesn't just start with the food, right? It starts in our hearts, the digestion of life, and that coming together and feeling that trust and compassion, that really being seen, heard, and loved at that dinner table can create such a bond. And that from that platform of trust and faith in one another, we have the opportunity then to work on the other things that need to be done outside and in an appropriate setting, which can actually help to build a child in feeling that trust to be able to have more eye contact. Also, when we come into eye contact, we want to gauge where we're coming from. I talked on day one about, engaging in eye contact with ourselves in the mirror, right? Coming together with who we are to build compassion and a relationship for our inner selves, that window into the soul, right? So when we come to our child, we want to also consider the energy that we're coming to them with and what our eye contact is actually conveying to our child. Is it conveying the trust and the love and and the discernment to be a great listener and to show understanding. We can always, do the parenting, correction or whatever, but how we do it matters to whether or not they really can engage and understand what we're saying. So I love the power of eye contact, and yet there is also opportunity for us to become more aware, to become more understanding, and to investigate. Um, yeah, it's kind of like this. I was trying to think of an example, and I have this one. It's not related actually to eye contact, although eye contact was part of, the process through which I walked with one of my daughters through anorexia, right? But to resolve the problem wasn't to force her to eat, right? Just like forcing our child for eye contact is not necessarily the best step. But what we did do was we began to dig into the root of what was going on that created this experience of anorexia. So when we think about the lack of eye contact, digging down into the root of what is going on and why that's not happening, for whatever reason, it gives us a chance to learn, to review, to create understanding and awareness, and then to proceed in a way that is most supportive to ourselves, of course, but to our children, so that they truly are seen, heard, and loved. And for you folks out there who are finding that this is a challenge in your family, I invite you to have a chat with me, to come to my event on March 14th of 2022. We are going to have a discussion about the art of soulful parenting, and it's within the Resilient Mama Movement Academy. So I would love for you to be there, because building resilience, not just resilience of bouncing back, but the resilience of bouncing forward, how that can really help us as families, as community, and eventually the entire planet to see our path to new ways of resolving the situations that we see on this planet. The same energy that created a problem is not the same energy that will resolve it. However, the energy must be equal, at least, in power. So the power of fear, the power of love, right? The power of compassion and understanding. If we can meet things in a new way, what could be possible? I invite you to come see me. Until next time, I love you and have an awesome day, and ask questions, make statements. Let me know where you are. Let's address them. Okay. Bye-bye.